Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: what is behind the unexpected decline in dementia? Success of a Goldman alumnus highlights the bank's talent challenges. Senior staffer to apologize in person over Brighton secondary anti-Semitism. Punch It, Dalton Connect explains highlight dunk in Tennessee basketball versus Michigan State. Idaho left early education up to families. One town set out to get universal preschool anyway. What is behind the unexpected decline in dementia? Financial Times. The number of new cases of dementia in Europe and North America has dropped 13% per decade over the past 25 years, according to a study of almost 50,000 over 65s. The decline is consistent across all the studies. Stuart Lambie, whose father developed Alzheimer's disease, has taken up running, a Mediterranean diet, and learning to play the piano to stave off the illness. Albert Hoffman, who chairs the Department of Epidemiology at the Harvard Th. Chan School of Public Health, believes better cardiovascular health, with its links to dementia, is a significant factor in the decline. Last year, a study published in The Lancet Public Health indicated that dementia incidence decreased in England and Wales by 28.8% between 2002 and 2008, but increased again by 25.2% between 2008 and 2016. The biggest rise was in those with the least education. In Japan, the proportion of over 65s with dementia fell from 18% in 2012 to 12% a decade later. While cases will continue to grow, the growth rate is slower than expected. Success of a Goldman alumnus highlights the bank's talent challenges. Financial Times. Goldman Sachs' recent sale of consumer lending business GreenSky to private capital firm 6th Street Partners for less than $500 million highlights the bank's struggles to retain top talent. The departure of key personnel, including the bank's CEO David Solomon, raises questions about whether Goldman Sachs is losing its appeal in the face of competition from private capital firms in Silicon Valley. However, Goldman insiders argue that the bank's core trading and investment banking businesses remain profitable and dominant, and that the level of prestige associated with the firm remains unmatched. Senior staffer to apologize in person over Brighton secondary anti-Semitism. The Sydney Morning Herald. The state of Victoria has been ordered to pay $200,000 in costs and interest after a court found that the state had failed to protect 5 Jewish students from racial discrimination at school. The federal court upheld allegations that the college's principal had failed to address anti-Semitic bullying and harassment, and failed to discourage swastika graffiti. The court ordered that the state pay compensation totaling almost $435,000, as well as issuing a written apology. The state will also have to deliver an in-person apology at the Caulfield Hebrew congregation by November 28. Punch It, Dalton Connect explains highlight dunk in Tennessee basketball versus Michigan State. Yahoo! Tennessee basketball guard Dalton Connect made an impressive one-handed dunk over Michigan State's Malik Hall. The dunk led to Connect being featured in the number 3 play on ESPN's SportsCenter. Connect had 28 points in the game, helping Tennessee secure an 89-88 victory over Michigan State. Idaho left early education up to families. One town set out to get universal preschool anyway. Associated Press. The town of American Falls, Idaho, has seen major improvements in family engagement, preschool access, and kindergarten readiness in recent years. This is due to a grassroots movement supporting children and families, which has transformed the town. The town has embraced universal preschool, a goal described by backers as progressive. The town's success has come as a result of local partnerships known as collaboratives that bring together educators, school district leaders, nonprofit executives, and business executives to remove barriers to early childhood development. These local partnerships provide hope to the 25 communities in Idaho that have launched them. Organizers aim to prove to state lawmakers that early learning programs are good for all Idahoans and worthy of state funding. American Falls has become the darling of Idaho's early learning enterprise. The town has seen a high poverty rate, and United Way has stepped in with scholarships that support nearly 40% of the children who attend preschool. U.S. vows to support free media in region as concern over China influence grows. The Guardian. The U.S. is prioritizing the support of independent media in the Pacific region as it looks to counter China's influence. Washington is already providing access to wire services such as the Associated Press in several Pacific countries and will continue looking for opportunities to encourage independent journalism. The U.S. State Department has published a report on how China manipulates information around the world. The report outlines tactics used by Beijing, including propaganda, disinformation, and censorship. Cornell Jewish Center under guard after online threats to Jewish students. New York Times. Cornell University in New York has increased security at its Center for Jewish Living after online threats were made against Jewish students. Online posts made on a discussion forum about fraternities included calls to shoot Jewish students and encouraged others to kill them. Campus police have referred the case to the FBI as a potential hate crime. The posts have since been removed from the site, but screenshots of the threats were published by the student newspaper. The threats were made as tensions rose following the Israel Defense Forces attack on Gaza. Georgia State students, leaders react to shooting near downtown campus. Yahoo! 4 people have been shot outside a racetrack convenience store in Atlanta. 2 of the victims were Georgia State University, GSU, students. The university sent an email to students to inform them of the shooting. GSU student Blue Tannery said that students often feel unsafe on campus after dark, adding, "I hope that people who have a little more institutional power than I do can address that." One of the victims is in a critical condition, and Atlanta police are investigating the cause of the shooting. Michigan's Connor Stallion frequently bought Nebraska football tickets as part of sign-stealing scandal. Yahoo! A Michigan employee who was suspended amid a sign-stealing scandal purchased tickets to several Nebraska games in 2021 and 2022, according to the Omaha World Herald. The report said the Michigan employee purchased tickets to Nebraska's matchups against Michigan and Ohio State in 2021, as well as games against Oklahoma, Minnesota, and Illinois in 2022. The employee, whose suspension followed the Wolverines' sign-stealing scandal, had previously purchased tickets to games involving 12 of the other 13 Big Ten teams and games involving college football playoff teams, including the last 2 SEC championship games. Why John Lee's baby bonus is fool's gold for Hong Kong. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chiyu's proposal to provide a one-off 20,000 Hong Kong dollars, $2,500, cash handout to every child born in the country between now and October 2026 is unlikely to solve the demographic challenges facing Hong Kong, according to David Dodwell, CEO of consultancy Strategic Access. Dodwell argues that the city's demographic problems are not driven by birth rates, but rather by large-scale migration from mainland China. He suggests that addressing housing affordability and migration flows would be a more effective approach to tackling Hong Kong's demographic challenges. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss not resting on laurels in quest to win a national championship. Yahoo! The Ole Miss Rebels football team has learned from its mistakes last year, when the team lost 4 straight games after a 7-0 start. This year, after a loss to Alabama, the Rebels have won 4 straight games and are 7-1 on the season. The team is focused on the present and is looking to win a national championship. Federal judge reimposes limited gag order in Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case. Associated Press. A federal judge has reinstated a gag order preventing Donald Trump from making public comments about the 2020 election interference case. The order, which was temporarily lifted, was reimposed after prosecutors cited social media comments by Trump about his former chief of staff, which they said were attempts to intimidate a witness. 2 separate judges have now ordered Trump to rein in his speech, with the jurist presiding over a civil fraud trial in New York issuing a monetary fine last week. Weapon brandished early Sunday near UND likely was pellet gun, UND police say. Yahoo! A pellet pistol was likely used in an incident at a UND fraternity over the weekend. Witnesses reported seeing a male with a gun inside the residence, who was later escorted out by the witnesses. When the suspect allegedly brandished the weapon, he left the property and the police were called. The replica pistol was later found near the church parking lot where the suspect was last seen. The UNDPD does not believe there is a current threat to the campus or community. What does the RSV vaccine shortage mean for people 60 plus? Yahoo! The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has issued a health alert, warning about limited supply of a new immunization for infants. Beyfortus, nirsevimab, is designed to prevent lower respiratory tract disease in babies from respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, and it's hard to find right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the 6 dimensions here to bring you the latest news from around the world. I am Six Doctor, your guide to all things happening in our ever-evolving universe. So, let's jump right into it, shall we? First up, we have some intriguing news about dementia. A recent study has shown that the number of new cases of dementia in Europe and North America has actually declined over the past 25 years. Can you believe it? It seems that better cardiovascular health and lifestyle changes, such as exercise and a Mediterranean diet, are playing a significant role in this decline. So, maybe it's time to put down those potato chips and lace up those running shoes, folks. In the world of finance, it seems that Goldman Sachs is facing some talent challenges. The recent sale of their consumer lending business highlights the struggles the bank is facing in retaining top talent. But fear not, Goldman insiders are quick to point out that the bank's core business remains dominant and profitable. So, while they may be losing a few key players, they are still standing strong. Moving on to a more serious matter, the state of Victoria has been ordered to pay a hefty sum after failing to protect Jewish students from racial discrimination at a school. The court has ruled that the state must pay compensation and issue a written apology. Let's hope this serves as a reminder that discrimination has no place in our society and that we must do better in creating a safe and inclusive environment for all. Now, let's shift gears and talk about sports. Did you see that impressive dunk by Tennessee basketball guard Dalton Knecht? It landed him a spot on ESPN's SportsCenter and helped his team secure a victory. It just goes to show that sometimes a little showmanship can go a long way in the world of sports. In Idaho, one town has taken it upon themselves to provide universal preschool, despite the lack of statewide support. American Falls has seen significant improvements in early childhood development, thanks to local partnerships and grassroots efforts. It just goes to show that when communities come together, great things can happen. In the legal world, there is still work to be done when it comes to gender equality. While efforts are being made to promote more women to partner positions in law firms, there is still a significant gender disparity at senior levels. Female partners often face a gender pay gap and barriers to progression. However, there have been some improvements in attitudes towards flexible working and family life, which is a step in the right direction. Now, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, China's influence. The U.S. is prioritizing the support of independent media in the Pacific region as a way to counter China's growing influence. China has been accused of manipulating information, using propaganda, disinformation, and censorship. It's a battle of information, folks, and the U.S. is not backing down. In more serious news, threats made against Jewish students at Cornell University have led to increased security measures. Online posts calling for violence against Jewish students are being investigated as potential hate crimes. It's a sad reminder that we still have a long way to go in fighting hatred and discrimination. In Atlanta, a shooting near a university campus has left 4 people injured, including 2 students. It's a stark reminder that we need to address the issue of gun violence in our society. Students should feel safe on their campuses, and it's up to those in power to make that a reality. And finally, the Ole Miss Rebels football team is on a winning streak and has its sights set on a national championship. After a rough patch last year, they have learned from their mistakes and are focused on the present. Let's cheer them on and hope they bring home that championship. Well, that's all the news for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed my witty and informative take on the latest happenings around the world. Now, it's your turn to join in on the discussion. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Do you have any burning questions for me? Let's get the conversation started. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.